Yesterday, yet another shocking video started going around Russia. You see, shocking videos going around Russia isn't that shocking anymore. No pun intended. We are used to all kinds of shocking videos because let me tell you, no video as shocking as the reality of Russia going mad, attacking Ukraine and killing people. So this latest shocking video has 3 soldiers fully armed, equipped with machine guns and everything. Their faces masked, well, as usual. They introduced themselves as a mobilized soldier, a convicted criminal currently serving time, but allowed free to join PWC Wagner, which is private army of Evgeny Prigozhin, and a regular Wagner soldier. So 3 of them. They angrily address the camera. Well, it's not really the camera that they address, but a member of Russian parliament, a senator, a 3-star general, Viktor Sobolev. They, in very rude language with obscenities, they state that the 3-star general, the senator responsible for overseeing Russian army, should not poke his nose into the business of private war company Wagner. You know, if Russia loses the war, they say, they will be forced to defend the Russian populace by coming to the Red Square and raping that 3-star general, the senator. A senator in Russia is protected by law. You cannot physically touch a senator, him or her. That's a crime. Even police cannot touch the senator. The senator is untouchable. Yet, these 3 men, most likely privates, most likely nobodies, most likely criminals, murderers, rapists, pedophiles, cannibals, anything can go, These 3 Russian privates of PWC Wagner threaten Russia's 3-star general, current senator. They threatened to come to the Red Square, not to the parliament in Moscow, but to the Red Square and rape him. Calling him real bad names, I don't want to repeat here. Now, that's a pretty shocking video. In my rating of shocking videos, this video takes the 3rd spot. The top spot, of course, the video with Wagner soldiers, could be the very same men in the picture, graphically execute a man they call a traitor by smashing his head with a sledgehammer, filming at close-up. You must have heard of that video. It made the waves of anger and disgust all over the world. Evgeny Prigozhin himself publicly rated it as excellently directed piece of art. The second shocking video in my top 3 list is around 20 minutes long. Prigozhin himself cursing at Russian Minister of Defense Shoigu, Russian Ministry of Defense Chief of Staff Gerasimov, and none other than Russia's one and only Vladimir Putin. Now, all those videos and tons of other videos that directly involve Prigozhin and his private army Wagner. He has allowed himself what no other person has allowed in today's Russia. He is directly threatened Vladimir Putin. And now, in this live stream, I'd like to speak why Evgeny Prigozhin is still alive. My name is Konstantin. Howdy everyone. Welcome to Inside Russia. I give you important news updates that explain what's really happening inside Russia. What you will not find on this channel is lies, BS, and propaganda. What you will find is truth, honesty, common sense, logic, and some emotions, because I am a human being. Inside Russia is where usual Russia is explained by the unusual Russian. First 30 minutes or so I deliver my daily message. then I invite everyone to carry on into live stream chat where we converse and I answer questions. I love that very much. So we're going to talk about why Evgeny Prigozhin, after saying what he has said, after threatening he has threatened, after doing what he has done, why he's still alive. People went to prison and they were executed for much smaller things. Evgeny Prigozhin is towering above everyone else in terms of spreading the fakes of the Russian army, in terms of insulting Russian officials, in terms of insulting Russian president and so forth. He is, again, towering above everyone else, miles above everyone else. Let's talk about it today. Before I jump into explaining and telling what I understand about the situation, I'd like to say a few words about Evgeny Prigozhin himself. In a very nutshell, I'll be very brief, I don't want to talk much about him. In a very nutshell, he's a thief, a robber, a fraud, a liar, a businessman, and a cook. Thief, robber, and fraud, and felon, because at age of 18 he was caught stealing, was convicted, and sentenced to 2 years in prison, although the sentence was suspended. He was a young fella. At age of 20, 2 years after, he was caught after executing a robbery and sentenced to 12 years in prison. He served 9 years, and in 1990 he was pardoned. Businessman, because in 1990, after he got out of prison, he started selling hot dogs, started making money, was legal all of a sudden in the USSR. And later he opened a few restaurants in St. Petersburg. Liar, because for about 10 years he was denying that he had anything to do with ČVK Wagner, private war company Wagner. And last year in 2022, he publicly admitted that he lied, and he is the founder of ČVK Wagner. Cook, because he cooked for Vladimir Putin while Vladimir Putin lived in St. Petersburg. And that, being a cook of Vladimir Putin, ensured his rise to riches and unbelievable power. When you look at Prigozhin at a glance, the way, listen to him speak, behave, act, he gives an impression of a person who spent his entire life at maximum security prison and just got out. Now let's get closer to the topic of today's stream. Why is he still alive? Why am I asking this question? Well, because of the way he has been acting and because of the things that he has been telling publicly. Prigozhin has released quite a few videos, He has been releasing them. This is the way how he communicates with people, And people, when I say people, I mean different kind of people. He communicates with people like Russian people, the populace, through his videos. He communicates with the army men, the generals, through his videos. And he communicates with Vladimir Putin, even with Vladimir Putin, through his videos. Okay, he sends messages. So his videos are messages. And those videos, they include very well-crafted messages. In very simple form, messages are easily understood by regular people. The message that he has been sending is fairly simple and effective. Something like this: I am a savior of Russia. I fought courageously. I fought well. I was backstabbed by the traitors in Moscow, in the Ministry of Defense, in the Kremlin. I was backstabbed by the army generals. I am not the one who started the war. After the start, I saw Russian army in trouble. I came to help, but they have been backstabbing me. That's basically the messages of the videos that Prigozhin sends. And they are a political program. What is coming after the war with Ukraine is lost by Russia. You know, Evgeny Prigozhin did not start recently. And I mean, did not start sending his messages. He started March 2022. He started acting as savior of Russia, acting as a hero. He brought Wagner, ЧВК Wagner, to Ukraine after the war that in Russia is still called by the officials the special military operation was started. He never said once he supported this war. He never said once anything about Ukrainians that, was diminishing. Otherwise, he's been speaking highly of the Ukrainian army, saying, hey, they're same as ours. They are strong. They're dedicated. They're fighting for the country. And the Ministry of Defense has been giving us a completely different picture. Ukraine does not have an army. Ukraine, what they call army, Ukrainian army, is a bunch of, not good bombs. They were forced, they were mobilized, and they were thrown to the front lines. And Prigozhin paints a different picture. He paints the picture more of a truth. So he kept blaming Shoigu, Gerasimov for the failures. Starting day one, Shoigu is the Minister of Defense of Russian Federation. He's second after Putin, and the Putin is commander of chief, of course. And Gerasimov is second after Shoigu, the chief of staff. So he blamed Gerasimov and Shoigu for failures. He blamed them for everything, for the army in such a bad shape. He called them thieves. He called them incompetent, etc. The goons from Wagner, I can't really find them soldiers, they're not, publicly, on camera, shot at targets in the form of the heads of Shoigu and Gerasimov. Now, folks, think about it. This is all official. This is all happening inside Russia. This is like two parts of the government. Because Wagner is fighting the war as a part of Russian armed forces, okay? Can you imagine that happening in the United States? This is crazy. Anyway, so ЧВК Wagner soldiers, but every time they appear on camera, they never show their faces, like criminals. They always have their faces covered up with black masks. So, they can stay anonymous. They publicly, on camera, shot at the heads of Gerasimov and Shoigu. His goons publicly threatened the 3-star general. They threatened to rape him, to come to his, basically, home, the parliament. Well, they didn't say parliament, they said Moscow, the Red Square, which is a hidden message, in a way. So, 3-star general senator. Imagine a Blackstone or BlackRock company in America, their employees or whatever, they come out on camera and publicly threaten America's chief of staff, saying they would come to the Washington, to the Pentagon, and would rape him, How would it be taken in the United States? I don't think it'd be taken well. Imagine the shame of the officers if they have something human inside of them. I don't know. Perhaps not. Perhaps they're just emotionless robots. But imagine, that is happening and what shame they should be going through, the officers, the generals, other generals. Imagine convicts serving time Uh, the rapists, the murderers, the child molesters, the cannibals, they were let out armed, and now they threaten decorated army generals. Imagine that. Imagine Prigozhin cursing Putin, insulting him, calling his name. Imagine that. Wow. Yet, Prigozhin is still alive. He is well. He's still fighting in Ukraine. Yet, Prigozhin is still not convicted of any crime. Yet, there hasn't even been an investigation, criminal investigation, launched into Prigozhin's actions and words by KGB or anyone else. You know, KGB and other Russian government agencies, they are very, very brave and courageous when it comes to going after regular people, but somehow they don't go after Prigozhin. He seems to be untouchable right now. Like I said, he's towering above everyone else in Russia. How come? How and why he gets away with whatever he says and whatever he does? We can't put two and two together unless where we start thinking where he comes from. We start thinking and, trying to put his past into the equation. A felon, an owner of few small restaurants, suddenly shooting to the stars. What's the secret of his success? Well, it's fairly simple. Very simple, actually. Vladimir Putin. Nothing that you in the public space of Russia hear or watch or see, nothing happens on its own. Everything that you see or hear in the public space of Russia is engineered. Someone very smart, some time ago, came up with a plan, a strategy, a goal, a plan of action, a set of actions to reach the goal. And what you are seeing at the present moment is the execution of someone's plan. It's like the tip of the iceberg. Prigozhin is not exception to the rule. His phenomena can be explained only if we assume that everything he says and does happens according to a plan. What is the plan? What is the purpose of the plan? What the fudge, you say? What are you talking about? Well, remember the time. I want you to take small details now and along with me, put them together. So we'll take small fine details and put them into a puzzle. Let's start with the time. Remember what time Evgeny Prigozhin was called up to go to Ukraine. He was brought to Ukraine. Did he volunteer? I don't think so. I mean, it'd be crazy to say that he volunteered. No, he didn't volunteer. He was ordered to come to Ukraine. Remember the time, end of March of 2022. Russian troops had just withdrew from Kiev region. They tried to take Kiev for about 5 weeks. They tried and tried and tried. Those 5 weeks were very strange. Russian media, Russian propaganda, they were screaming, shouting out, sending messages. Ukraine will be taken in no time. It's just a matter of time. The reason we are slowly taking Ukraine is because we don't want many casualties. We want to keep casualties at minimum. If we didn't follow that rule, Ukraine would have been ours. And then they were saying it for weeks and weeks and weeks. And then I remember the shock of everyone in Russia when Russian troops just got up and left. They withdrew. And the questions started arising. And the biggest question was, what the fudge did you just do? Why did you come to Kiev? And, I'll remind you, the Russian troops were close to Kiev on the outskirts. Why did you come? Why did you bomb Kiev? Why did you kill so many people? Why did you do that? What for? To leave back, to withdraw your troops? And then that's when Prigozhin was called. And that is a key point in understanding what Prigozhin is all about. You see, I think that by the end of March, harsh truth was realized by Putin and whoever's behind him or whoever's around him. Him or the people around him realized that they failed miserably to execute a blitzkrieg. They couldn't take Ukraine in a few days. They understood that instead of a special military operation, that became a war. And Russia got itself, well, they got Russia into something they had not expected. That's my personal opinion. Things did not go to the plan, according to the plan. It's just what they kept on saying to everyone. They still saying that sometimes, that things are going to the plan, but they knew much better. And they understood that Russia, at that point, they understood that they actually might lose the war. And they came up, they needed to maintain their own power, someone to blame. That they could blame on the losses all, basically this disaster on. Who are to blame? Plain and simple, of course, the generals. Who are the generals? Well, the general number one, the Minister of Defense, Sergei Shoigu, and his deputy chief of staff of Russian Ministry of Defense, Sergei Gerasimov. They were to blame. They were made the scapegoats. But how do you do that? Vladimir Putin coming out and saying, hey, that's not me, that's the generals. That doesn't work that way. Because the very first thing he'd do that, he'd need to fire the generals, okay? But he fires generals and he puts new generals, the good ones. And then what happens? Russia keeps on losing, okay? So, and perhaps the next question is, well, wait a second. That's not about the generals. Who is it about? Who's about the generals? Commander-in-chief. Who makes decisions? Commander-in-chief. Whoa, wait a second, this kind of stuff. So he couldn't do that himself. No one around him could do that for this very same reason. So they came up with this brilliant idea to reinforce Russian army with ЧВК Wagner and sent Prigozhin, felon, this guy, to start barking at the general, to start building up this public opinion that there is a force inside Russia that is rotten, that there's a force that is to blame for all the losses. Why Russian army did not achieve anything? Well, because the generals are bad, The decision makers are good, but the generals are bad. Anyway, that was the plan. Then Prigozhin did his job excellently. He started barking. He started blaming Shoigu. They needed names, you understand? Not just the generals. They needed who is to blame? Shoigu. Who is to blame? Gerasimov. They will answer. They are traitors. They are liars. They are thieves. They destroyed Russian army. They had been destroying it for years, and now we know. We didn't know back then, but now we know. Oh, we're gonna get them. So anyway, Putin sends Prigozhin as his best dog to bark, and Prigozhin does his job, He starts barking at them like we were shocked when first videos appeared. He was actually telling the truth about the state of Russian army. As clearly, according to the Russian government, according to the KGB, that's spreading misinformation, disinformation, and fakes. Prigozhin needed to go to prison. He broke the law, but untouchable. So he continued to bark for an entire year, and every time he barked, his voice became more powerful, stronger, and louder. And he was not stopped because of one simple reason. The losses continue, the fails continue. If he stops barking and then the generals are replaced, but then the losses will continue. I mean, it's clear now for everyone in Russia. Then what happens? Someone needs to be barking. Prigozhin needs to keep on releasing the videos, to keep on saying what he says. And he did an excellent job until May 7th. On May 7th, something very different happened. If you watch the video, the long one, basically, to make a long story short, in that video, he blamed Prigozhin and Gerasimov as usual. He calling them names, like wouldn't believe, they were homosexuals and all of that. But he blamed somebody else and he insulted somebody else. He cursed somebody else, none other than Vladimir Putin. He, used swear words on Vladimir Putin. 7th of May. This shows me personally that Prigozhin is out of control. Putin has lost the grip on the situation. Putin cannot control Prigozhin any longer. If he could, Prigozhin would be at his leg, but he's not anymore. Vladimir Putin showed everyone, and it's obvious to me, but it's much more obvious to the inner circle, to people who are around him. He showed that he is not that powerful anymore. He's lost some of its power. And you know what's going to happen when his people who are around him will sense that he's not that powerful? They will start tearing him apart. So, on May 7th, Prigozhin called Putin's... he cursed Putin. He called him name. May 15th, his fighters, goons, openly threatened the Kremlin, not the parliament and not the general, the 3-star decorated general. No. Remember, I told you that it's very fine message hidden without that message, within that message, inside that message, I'm sorry. They did not say they're going to go to the parliament and rape the general. They said they're going to go to the Red Square. And the Red Square, the parliament is not at the Red Square. The Kremlin is at the Red Square, okay? So their message is, we're going to go to the Kremlin. We're going to go find the traitors inside the Kremlin. That's what they're aiming at. Situation is out of Putin's control. Someone powerful, someone in the shadows protects Prigozhin. It's protecting him now. Someone powerful who can is keeping him alive. Otherwise, he'd be dead. It's obvious. I think you all understand. It means one thing. The game of power, the game of power grab in the Kremlin is on big time. I'm taking popcorn, I'm kicking back, sitting, relaxing, and I start watching what will happen in Russia soon. The dogfight is on. My friends, and this has been my message for today. Thank you so much for giving me chance, coming, listening. Thank you so much. That's been a pretty tough message to come up with, but I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, would you please consider hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel so you don't miss any further updates. And please help me out a little bit. I want you to ask to help me spread my message by making reposts in your social media accounts. That helps a lot with YouTube algorithm. Also, if you'd like to buy me coffee, I'd welcome that. Thank you. So, turning the live stream chat on. Thank you again. Looks like it is on. I'd like to make a little announcement before I start. Tomorrow I'd like to try a different format of my streams. Right now I'm using a special software for streaming on my telephone. And basically, you know, it's me and telephone and you behind the telephone and the microphone, that's it. Computer is just a screening device, but I am connecting everything to a computer so I could share some visual materials with you. I want to make my streams more to make them more like pop out, if you know what I mean, to make them more engaging, more visual. So hopefully I'll do that tomorrow, and I hope you like it. Lorna and Mommy, howdy howdy, wonderful mods. Harry, I don't think Harry's here today with us, but he's always, yes, he is. Harry, howdy. Bob S is away, or perhaps Bob. Anyway, everyone, if you're away, you're always in our minds and our hearts. If you're here today, thank you so much for coming back. Usual suspects, howdy, great to see everyone. Let's jump into the questions without further ado. What do you think of my message? Number one. And would you like me to answer your questions? Number two. You know, usual. If you want to, if you want me to see your comments or messages or questions easier, would you consider them? Would you please consider them Putin in caps and Putin inside Russia after @ sign, so they jump into my eyesight. Jump into my sight. Ooh. Dave Strains, hope everything is well. Thank you so much. Thank you for the good words. Lawrence Mitchell, howdy. I'm on time for a change. Great, thank you. Koshkin Dom. Pamela J, hello everyone. So I'll be reading the ones in caps and highlighted, just like Harry did. Sam K, howdy. Oh my. Donna Olson, howdy howdy, long time no see. The PMC is the SMO frontline meat grinder that the Russian military very much needs. It would fall apart if Prigozhin was eliminated, right now anyway. First of all, Donna, great to see you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for your missed. Hope all is well in Beverly Hills. You are right, but I think there is a bigger purpose behind Prigozhin as the project. And this is why he is not eliminated. This is why he's still alive. You know, this is why he keeps on continues, making his crazy, cruel, inhuman videos, what. Anyway, thank you, Donna. Great to see you. And thanks for the huge support. Thank you. Jason Carney, thank you so much. Tell me what you want me to do. Email if you want something from Tashkent, or just thank you for your support. Thank you. Eddie, the Red left the sinking ship and now make a lot against Putin. That's rank. He will stand more to Ukraine now. Red left. Eddie, it's really hard to disagree with you. Let me tell you that. You make sense, and thanks for your support. Lots of people in this community, You all, actually, not lots, but you all. You make sense. Thank you for being who you are, and thanks for coming and speaking the things that I agree with, you know. Dave Strains. A good message. Konstantin, Prigozhin must be one hell of a cook for Putin. You know what, Dave? I think that he cooked him something up all right. You know, it wasn't something usual because the usual cooks don't get what Prigozhin got. Isabel Ligo, at one point, Prigozhin seemed to have got along very well with Kadyrov against high senators. We thought they were having a plan together to grab the power. What are your thoughts? You are absolutely right. It means that you follow what's happening in Russia. I would say last summer, late summer, and throughout fall and early winter, what you said was true. Well, what you said is true anyway. So what you said was happening in reality. Kadyrov is a different project. Kadyrov has his own goals. Okay, he has different people behind him, and that was the time when their goals were the same, more or less. That's why they joined forces and um, they started going against the generals and the high senators. That's what I think. Straight flush. Do you think Prigozhin will be a convicted war criminal? I think that Prigozhin is a dead man walking. Susie Mailer, is Prigozhin looking to take Putin's place? A lot of people thought so because all of a sudden he was all over in the informational space, and all the senators, all the politicians, they started fearing him because he had a real force. But then he's lost most of his force. Like it was said before in the stream, he's put his men up front to be a meat grinder. So I'm not sure how much of a Wagner is left right now, and he's cut off from ammunitions, probably cut off from money, and cut off from getting more recruits from Russian prisons. He's not allowed into Russian prisons anymore. You see how funny it works? You know, at one day they allow him into the prisons, no problem. Oh, you recruit anyone you want to. And he does that and does that. And after that, after a certain point, he shows up and the doors are closed. And they tell him, and you are? Because I'm Prigozhin. Well, go and have sex with yourself, you know. And that's what he was told, basically. You see how funny Russia has become such a freaking madhouse, you know. Bob S. Bob is here too. Howdy. Dan Caldwell. Another day, another message. Thank you so much. Andrea Nagy from Sweden. Thank you. Thank you so much. Much appreciated. Sending my love to Sweden from Tashkent. It's a good thing that you've joined NATO, let me tell you. Riviere 1862, thank you so much for great words. Much appreciated. Give me some words of encouragement. I like that. But be honest. Ann Larson, howdy. Thank you so much for showing up today and watching. Viking 5227, lots of news from Russia last few days. Oh my god, Russia is boiling. There are so many news. They come out every day. I don't know what to give you because I have 3 ideas for different streams every single day. You see, if I could do 3 streams, one in the morning, one in the afternoon, one at the evening, I would do that. It's physically very, very difficult on me, and I can't even think on the mods, you know, how tough it is on the mods. Tube Radio, thanks again from the Netherlands. Thank you so much. Thank you. Appreciate it. Howdy from Ottawa. Hello, hello. Pacific Beach. Putin snafu. Charlie B, howdy. Coventry, UK here. Graham, howdy. Greetings from Transylvania, Romania. Matt Blazer 89. Howdy, friend. No Graf Dracula around. Is it? Steve Hayes, howdy, howdy. Elsha, your theory makes sense, but where will it all lead to? Elsha, I think we don't know at this point. It might lead to different places. There are, you see, we are right now are at this point, and there are different paths that Russia can take, and they depend on certain, what happens on certain circumstances and certain events. And these events are, being made as we speak. Okay, so we don't know. I can, again, my opinion, but I think that we will understand where Russia is going, will be going to soon, within 6 months, because, like it was said before, there are so many news coming out of Russia. You gotta understand, the country is boiling. There are different forces, different groups, different events. Russian economy is in free fall. Oh my God, I will make another stream on that soon. That's not good. Russian people are still leaving Russia as as much as they can. Things are not well. Russia is having high fever. So what I think is going to happen is we will know soon. The end is near. Caesars, thank you so much for coming back, friend. Can we say that we already have clear winners in this war? Just maybe not Ukraine or Russia yet? No, that's a good question. Can we say that we already have clear winners in this war? Just maybe not Ukraine or Russia yet? A question that is making me think. Well, a huge winner is the United States, because it had been fighting to break into the market of natural gas supplies to European countries. And year after year after year, it couldn't do that because, it's very simple. Russia was right next to Europe, and natural gas coming from Russia was much more convenient and much cheaper. And the United States had to extract, transport, liquefy, transport oversea, and then unliquefy, so to speak, and put it into the pipelines. Much more expensive. Now, forget about the Russian natural gas. American companies will be riding in money, so that's a clear winner. Another winner, the United States. It has reclaimed its leading role in the world, in the West, and it has given NATO the second meaning. Not the second meaning, second breath. Meaning, gave new life to NATO. Who else at this point are winners? Ukraine is a winner as well, because it has the support of the entire world. Never happened before, but it is happening now. This is a very bitter victory because there are so many Ukrainians died for nothing. For nothing. One thing that kind of eliminates all the victories is lives lost for nothing. Ukraine was a peaceful country with peaceful people, and all of a sudden Russian rockets came, Russian soldiers marched, and Russian tanks rolled. And then so many people have been killed. No matter who's the winner or the loser, this tragedy that already has been done. But anyway, so I see two clear winners at this point. Definitely Ukraine will shine in the future because, again, or two things actually: the support of the world, all kinds of support, technological, financial, and the second is Ukraine has united as a country. Ukrainian people melted together. They're one now. Didn't used to be like that. I mean, I know I was in Ukraine. I lived there for 1 year. But now they're different. They're like hard metal, hardened. They've given purpose. So, I hope I answered your question. Donna, thank you so much being the sponsor for 12 months. It's incredible. 1 year member. Jaga Jaga, happy dance. Woohoo. Thank you, Donna. Thank you. And guess what? RW has beaten you by 1 month. 13 months. Wow. I can't believe it's been that long. I can't believe I've been doing this for such a long time. It's crazy. Hi all, late as usual. Humanity is the big winner if we can put an end to wars of conquest, but round 2 will be Taiwan. Hard to disagree with you, friend. Thanks for all support. Thanks for the emails. Thank you for monetary support. I don't want to say your name out here because perhaps you want to keep it private, but thank you so much. There was a question from Crusader Damien, and that is the man with the best questions. Why do Russians use such violent language with each other and us all the time? Damien, this is another stream. This is such a deep question. I'm gonna write it down. Write it down. I'm gonna write it down. Violent language. In nutshell, I will give you an example. Hopefully it's not going to answer your question. But anyway, listen, this is what happened recently in Russia. A principal of a high school wrote a denunciation letter to KGB for one of the students, like 13-year-old or something like that, for being extremist. A KGB came and they started investigating. Turns out that the girl had 2 ponytails. Ponytails, right? And they were 2 pieces of fabric. One was of blue color and another one was of yellow color. Blue and yellow is the flag of Ukraine. And there was an investigation launched, and they knocked on the door of the parents and talked to the parents, and the parents said, well, what's the big deal? She went to a hairdresser, and hairdresser did that. So they went to a hairdresser. And the hairdresser said, what are you talking about? Are you crazy? The girl came to me, and she wore a dress that was blue and yellow, and we found 2 colors that matched her dress, and she asked me, and I did that. There's no extremism involved. But KGB doesn't think so. It thinks otherwise, okay? So the question is, why did the principal of high school do that? Why did she rat out this girl? Why do people all over Russia in thousands rat other people out? Why are they angry? In Russia, it doesn't feel like people are friends to each other. It feels like they're enemies to each other. That's why they use violent language with each other, and that's why they're ratting each other out to the authorities. That's why they doing all these crazy things. Again, this is a short answer, but I'll think of a stream about that because that's hugely important. You gotta understand what's going on in Russia on the level of regular people now. Eddie, Putin will never give up from its own. That's the fact. But every people in Russia can go in a new Autumn 89 in GDR. Why not in Russia now? It's not a question to me. It's a question to Russian people. I would love to see that. What really amazes me, how far we returned to GDR in very few short months, unthinkable. That's what we discussed in the Breakfast Club for the past couple days. How fast we went back to GDR. Not even GDR, it's like the worst version of the USSR because GDR was better than USSR. How FSB turned into KGB so fast? That's what we discuss. JL, Konstantin, been trying to get in touch with you. Happy to see you all well inside Russia. Would you please write Lorna or Mommy? They will get in touch with me. How were you trying to get in touch with me? Let me know. Craig Hughes, cruelty now seems the norm when you send troops to the front line because they can't pay 20,000 ruble bribe to senior officers injured, not treated unless they pay up discharged Fed. It's not a question, it's a statement, and it's very hard to disagree with you. I agree. Chris S., I don't think you realize how much you're doing for the country. You give the Western world a true picture of proud Russian in exile that loves his country. Chris, I don't think of that. I don't think of what I'm doing. I just do what I do. I wake up every morning. I think about this all the time. I do it every day, and I try to get people offline together. Russians, Ukrainians help each other, get along and stuff like that. So if I do something good and that I succeed at that, then that's great. But I don't think of it. I just keep on trying my hardest. Thank you so very much for your words. They are very motivational and encouraging. Thank you. Sam K, has anyone seen Breakfast Bot? Was he with Nightbot or Daybot or with Evening Bot? Hey, by the way, I just finished. I went to a breakfast club, and yesterday, well, every morning I go, but yesterday was a different day. Not different. It was a special day. It was an unusual day. It rained in Tashkent, and I actually filmed. I filmed my way to the breakfast club. I filmed what was happening a little bit inside, and I filmed the rain. So I edited it just before the stream, like 1 hour, and right after the stream, I will upload for the members and for the sponsors. The members of sponsorship program on YouTube and patrons. So patrons on Patreon. So please keep on tuning in. You will see that appearing on YouTube for sponsors and on Patreon within like 20 minutes after I'm done. So Michael Silberg, thank you so much. A++, I like that. Alok Shukla, I just want it to end. I have no strength left to cope with it. I just want people to live. My friend, if you only knew how much we here in Tashkent, how much in Russia, people that I know personally, how much we want this to end, how much we pray, how hard we pray for that. This concerns us directly, okay? This has put our lives in havoc. We want it to end so bad. Guy L, I doubt Russia thought of anyone winning other than themselves, so no backup plan. Guy, I agree with you, but it's not Russia thought, it's Putin thought. That's a big difference. Because in Russia, in the first days when we learned, first 2 days, everyone was absolutely shocked. I did not see one person who was cheering. Everyone was just like, what the fuck, you know? I remember those days. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't work. I couldn't. It was just someone took a huge frying pan and just, hit me in the head. And my wife was feeling the same way. My mom, all my colleagues at work. I think it was Monday, wasn't it? And we had a meeting. Like we have meetings every Monday, and then company wide, and we couldn't even. Everyone was like, "Huh." We couldn't. No, couldn't been Monday. Anyway, I don't remember, but I remember it was a huge meeting. I couldn't just. So, no one was prepared. No one expected. No one liked it or approved it. Politicians were silent for 2 weeks because they were in shock. Russian stars, media personalities started coming out openly saying, hey, stop this war. What are you doing? You're crazy, and things like that. Imagine, remember, in those days, we did not have a law for spreading the fakes. We could say anything we wanted to. And we started saying that. I started saying, hey, stop this war. The video is still out there. Actually, I should open it. I will open it. This on day one I made a video, but then after they made the law about spreading fakes and calling war, then I kind of I took it off, but it's still there. So it wasn't Russia. It was one person, Putin. Hell Porter, these out of control warlords maneuvering for ultimate control of remaining great power, however diminished, is very scary, and this is the event leaving nuclear weapons out of the picture. Oh, this is true, even leaving nuclear weapons out of the picture. Remember, I was asking this question yesterday. I said that I don't believe that any of the warlords would even remotely try to use nuclear weapons. That'd be a suicide. Okay, Putin doesn't use it, will not use it, because that's going to be suicide for him. Just small, tiny bugs, the warlords. But you're absolutely right. It's scary. Their maneuverings are just. If I was gonna say, if I was Russian, I'd be. Oh my god. If I was Russian, I'd be scared. Who the heck am I? Mad Blazer 89. It's understandable that some people in the world have the only love for their motherland left when their government robbed them of everything else. Friend, hey, sending love to Romania from Tashkent. The big question is here: what is motherland? I had had never, I had never had this question before. But after the start of the war, I started asking myself, what is motherland to me? What is my motherland? What does it consist of? There are two concepts of motherland. One is being forced upon me by the Russian government. Basically, they say you must love your country regardless. You must love your president. You must love your government. You must support your army no matter what they do, because that's your motherland. You're born and raised there. But I kind of have a problem with that. To me, motherland is people who I love, people who I grew up with, people who I worked with, my family, my friends, my culture, things like that. But what if everything starts going very wrong? What is left of motherland? So I'll be honest with you, I'm very confused about this whole thing. Um, I'm trying to figure out what is my motherland, true motherland is, and like, who am I? Your question, your statement, your support came just in time when I said, if I was a Russian. So I don't know anymore. Caesars, thank you. A hypocritical question. What would happen with Putin's Russia if the United EU decided to change its policy and open its doors to Russians? Um, I think lots of Russians who cannot leave Russia due to, first of all, they cannot obtain visa, or second, they don't have enough funds, to obtain visa. They would have left, or they would have attempted to leave. But at that very second, Russia would close its doors for people leaving. It actually might happen um, very soon, because Vladimir Putin just signed an executive order uh, ordering different government services to create measures, actions basically, to keep Russians inside Russia. There were a few points he made saying, oh, the living of standards of Russians must be increased. Oh, the government control must be loosened, or some things like that. So basically, his message was, you're gonna make lives of Russian people easier so they don't leave. But the problem is, I don't believe that, because every single executive order has secret part. For example, the executive order on beginning of the mobilization he signed on 21st of September, that was a hidden part. It's still a secret. It's out there in public. And there are nine points, nine bullets, and one of them simply is not there. It's like number 7 and then number 9. What is number 8? Well, it's made confidential. Okay. So, what is confidential in his executive order to prevent Russians from leaving Russia? We don't know. So, Caesars, they might actually install. Right now, there's a Iron Curtain installed outside Russia, but they will install it inside Russia. So, answering your question. There was another question from Damien. Unfortunately, after 15 months of brutal war, this is Russia's war now. Like the Germans so long ago, that leader started it, but the people allowed it. Damien, I made an entire stream that is called "Is this Putin's war or Russians' war?" My opinion that it is Russians' war. Although lots of people in Russia say, well, that's Putin's war. It was for a short while. But you know what? There are so many millions of people involved in supporting the war. And once they support, that becomes their war. So, I mean, go ahead and rewatch the stream. It's called Putin's War or Russians' War. Okay, and this is exactly what I talk about for about 25 minutes. And I'm making my points. So thank you again for good statement question. Paula W, I would like to see that day one video. How should I release it? Should I? Well, I probably shouldn't re-release it. I should just open it up. You know what? I can do it now while streaming. Jason, thank you so much for gifting 5 people sponsorship. 5 more people will be able to see this content. Well, this video. I hate to call my videos content. This video, this material that I'm going to upload. And just give me a second. I am going to open and give you a link to my first day video. It was open for a week or so. Then I was forced to unlist it because they created new law that would get me in trouble. But now they are calling this freaking thing war themselves. Putin called it war. The propagandists called it war. Russian senators called it war, you know. Where the heck is that? Russian special military operation in Ukraine has started. And now it is open for public. Go ahead and watch it. Here is the link. This is my true thoughts of. That's what I was feeling. That's what I was saying on the very first minutes when I learned. The first reaction was I couldn't hold my emotions. I took the camera and I started filming. This video was literally made around 10 a.m., 9 a.m. perhaps. Hang on. This is it. Here's the link. Watch it after the stream, will you? Out there in public again. 14 months later. Prigozhin has African diamonds. You know, Susie, what he should have done? He should have stayed in Africa. He should have stuck with his diamonds. He shouldn't have come to Russia and getting involved into the war with Ukraine. Because guess what happens now? Even if he survives, even if he outlives Putin, even if he, you know, comes, I don't know how you call it, successful, not successful, but guess what's going to happen to him? There's a certain town called Hague, and in a small country, small but proud, and I think he'd be hidden there. Melody Angel, howdy. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Time's up. Couple questions and that's it. Elsha, thank you. In the Netherlands, motherland at fatherland. Hal Porter, lots of people feel trapped in motherland by family responsibilities on top of other issues. Same is true for many potential refugees in many nations who end up staying far too long. Can't argue with that. That's to the point. Jimmy Penrose from Maine, Edgecombe, Maine. Vitan Goranov, Bulgaria in the house. Hey, привет. What would it take for you to present the stream with a bottle of Stolichna instead of tea? You can't pay me enough. Sorry. I opt for English breakfast, not Stolichna. I am the unusual Russian, remember? The highwayman. There is no motherland, but there is Mother Earth, and she's all our mother. Thank you. Can't argue with that. I like your videos and stream, but I don't agree on the shocking part. Most of us have seen the executions and beheading of Ukrainian soldiers. This left me speechless. This put Russia worse than IS. Well, Zvayan, you misunderstood my message a little bit. I talked about the messages that were released made by or around Prigozhin. Okay, I also saw the videos with the beheadings, murders, and so forth. They are very hard to watch. They stir lots of emotions. The worst ones are mothers screaming when their children, got killed. I still cannot get their screams out of my head. But that's not what I was talking about in the stream. So you misunderstood me. Yurai Kwak, what do you think? Do you think the regional presidents in Russia are thinking of creating or converting their private armed groups? They have been made. They have been quite a few groups already formed, and I think now more and more news we will be hearing about such groups being created, because people start thinking, what's next? What's after the Russia loses? What's going to happen to us? And then, of course, they want power. They want their own countries. They want their own regions. So I think that's what's going to be happening. With failure of Russian armaments is only course now massive mobilization. Mobilization has been going on, and it's massive. Okay. Um, I mean, I don't know how more or else to tell you that mobilization has been going on. A friend of mine, a person I know, not a friend of mine, but a person I know, was not let out of Russia. Actually, two people already they weren't let out of Russia in the recent couple weeks. One of them, I don't know what happened to him, what was the reason given, but the second was said, go and check with your mobilization center. Sort things out with them. Every single week, we have a few people telling us that someone got mobilized in Russia. Relatives, friends, colleagues, people they know. So, of course, massive mobilization will happen. It's been happening. It started January 17th. Okay, folks, I would like to end the stream. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for listening. Hang on 1 second. I'm back. Thank you. Let's finish the stream with a prayer again. Thank you so much. Let's do it. Anyway, there will be no list today. I guess there will be. This is it. I got it. So, friends, please join me in prayer. Thank you so very much. Dear Lord Jesus Christ, thank you for giving us this wonderful day. Thank you for putting food on our tables and roofs over our heads. Thank you for surrounding us with people who we love and who love us. Please give us wisdom to keep the skies above our children's heads peaceful and raise them in a way that when they become adults, they will make this world a better place. They will do a better job than the job that we have done. Please help our children, keep them safe and healthy, dear Lord. Please help stop the bloodshed in Ukraine. The country has suffered enormously and the people have suffered. Please reach out and touch the hearts and souls of people who are responsible for that tragedy, who are responsible for making decision. Please thaw their hearts so they will feel human emotions again. They will feel mercy, remorse, empathy. They will feel forgiveness, and they will make the decision to stop the bloodshed. Please help every single person in Ukraine who has been affected, answer their prayers, and make their wishes come true. Please send everyone in Ukraine an angel, so the angels keep people away from harm's way. Please help my country. Send your strongest angels with sharpest swords, led by Saint Michael, to come down and get rid of the demons that have hijacked my country. Have angels take control and run my country. Have angels to run it the way that it becomes good, it becomes peaceful, a good neighbor, and it gains respect back by its actions. Dear Lord, please send help to everyone who's traveling. Send them safe travels. Send help to everyone who is asking for asylum right now, especially families. Please help all who are hungry, jobless, homeless, depressed, losing faith. not feeling good about themselves, sick, please provide everything that what they lack. Surround them with your love and shine your heavenly light upon them. So people feel better. They feel good about themselves again. They will heal. They will find new purpose. They will get plenty of food. They will have jobs and homes. They will regain their faith, and they will have a shot at happiness again. So please, everyone who is in the dire straits right now, dear Lord, please help everyone who is in Ukraine suffering from Russian strikes, without electricity, without water and heat, without basic necessities. Please help them. Send help their way as soon as possible. Dear Lord, please give us all peaceful skies above our heads, whether we deserve it or not, but please be merciful to us. I would like to ask you to reach out to speak to every woman who is pregnant and making a decision whether to keep her baby or not. Reach out to all of them and talk to them so they make the right choice. Thank you so much for bringing us all in this community. Thank you for the help and support I'm getting. Thank you for help and support that people get through this community. You really have blessed us. Thank you. Please help everyone who is praying along with me or just watching us pray. Answer their prayers and make their wishes come true. Dear Lord, I'd like to ask for some people who need your help a lot. They are Wayne, Shirley, Debbie, Jen Ellen, Finola, Lars Henrik and Lars Henrik's mother, Amanda, her roommate, the highwayman, Essie from the Scottish Isles, Lazarus, David Porter, his family, and everyone who is in Chernovtsi, Ukraine, Outlander and family, Choriz and family. Enjoy every minute. Lars, Susan Marshall, Beulah, Buzz Salmon, Teresa D, Alvin, Alvin's sister, Garcia Castellanos, Terry Carter, Joe and Lee McMahon, Meta Spencer, Diana and her family, Bree's friend, Caroline, Albina Fell, Michael Yukon, Live, Joel, Karine Wasser, Pamela J, Lindsay, Larry, Elena, Natasha, Jake, Michael, Oля, Dasha, Sky, Bonnie, Svetlana, Karen, Michael Milkowitz, Marlene, Paul Bins, Richard, Mallory M, Dirk Misler, Linda, Terry, Richard Burris, Angelic at Life, and Scan Family's grandson, Randolph, Barb, Nelly, Arkady, and Yuri, and everyone in Nikolaev, Ukraine, Harry's family, Verlinda's niece, Ian James, Doug, Priscilla, Michelin, King Nero, Gaby Hyman, Donald, Jade, Kaltenberg, Lisa's son, Deborah, Brittany S., Allison Dave Moyers, Maureen M. and her sister, Mr. Hanson, Tony, Kayleen, Ashley and family, Mr. Dean Spooner, and his church called Our Savior Lutheran Church, Lisa Kumrian, Jacob, Adam Oliver, Amy, Treasure, Kyle's wife, Grace Philosophy. Please send recovery to Grace, and please shine your heavenly light upon her family and her wonderful granddaughters, Maggie, Carmen's sister, Vladislav and Sergey, Susie Mailer, Gina, Wayfarer, EMS paramedic Liz, Lori Miles' husband, Sherry, Layla, Philip's mother, Thomas Fall, Margaret, Linda Trombley, RT, Per, Sarah Stokes, Rod, Sandra's husband, Greg, Jim and Shirley Hall, Delaney and 2 daughters, Ann Larson, her family and daughter Hannah, Florentina, Mag's family, Caroline Raidnor, Patty L, Sherry Moran, CKOC, Brian Wilkes, Lise Dumbrell, and Lise Dumbrell's grandparents, Ripted, daughter of Aspen English, Ruth, Paul, Alona and her boys, Susan, Rudy Kaisley, Darla, Bip, Santa's Whiskey, Paula McDonald, White Lightning, Liz, George Druberty, Dave Strains, and Pam. Also asking for special children. They are Cadence, Sebastian, Maverick, Maddie, Ansley, Theo, Coulter, and 2-year-old niece of Karin Wasser. Please send recovery and send strength to their families. Also, please, all the children in Ukraine who have been affected by this terrible tragedy, and children who have been affected in Russia. Dear Lord, thank you so much. Thank you, Father. Amen. My friends, it's been another stream, another day. Hope you liked my message. I enjoyed very much being here, doing what I did. Thank you. I will see you tomorrow with another message. Before I go, I would like to remind you that you are absolutely awesome and you rock. And I mean it. And before I go, I would like to ask you to say along with me the usual, Carthago delenda est.